Well, welcome to Tea and Talk Virtual Edition. My name is Leslie Thompson. I am Director of Adult Programs at the Sid Richardson Museum. And before we get going, I actually want to begin with how I start all of our public programs at the museum, which is with what's known as a land acknowledgement. And for anyone unfamiliar, a land acknowledgement pays tribute to the original inhabitants of the land that we're on. So we, the Sid Richardson Museum, respectfully acknowledge all Native American peoples who have lived on this land since time immemorial. And the Sid would especially like to acknowledge and pay respect to the Wichita and affiliated tribes upon whose historical homeland our museum is located. So for today's Tea and Talk session, in addition to members of the Sid Richardson Museum staff, we have a special guest with us today. So I'm going to quickly go around our virtual table here and introduce each person, and I'll go in order of my screen. So right below me is Janie Cumming, who is our Visitor Services Manager here at the Sid Richardson Museum. Then below her is Emily Wiskera, who is our special guest today, and she is Manager of Access Programs at the Dallas Museum of Art. Then below her is Betsy Thomas, our Director of Education Resources at the SID. And then below her is Shelby Orr, Director of School and Family Programs at the SID. So we're excited to have everyone here with us this morning. To quickly review for those who are not familiar with our Tea and Talk, this is a program that we, under normal circumstances, host at the museum the first Wednesday of every month throughout the school year. And Tea and Talk is an opportunity to slow down the art viewing process. You can think of it as a visual deep dive through conversation and shared observations. Studies have shown that the average visitor at an art museum spends about maybe 10 to 12 seconds with one work of art, and that really is just not a lot of time to really take in everything that you're seeing, especially with our collection. There's just so much going on. There's such a rich detail and story in each of our paintings. So normally in person, our program allots for half an hour, but for the sake of our virtual experience, we are keeping it at 10 minutes, which we will see quickly that even 10 minutes just goes by in a flash. There's just so much to see and to talk about. And we have on the screen with us today an image of the painting that we're going to be looking at from our collection. And I want to remind everyone that while it is nice to have a digital reproduction, it's obviously not as good as seeing the painting in person. So I encourage you that when museums do reopen, to go look at art in person, because there's so many details that you miss when you just have a digital reproduction. But of course, we don't have a choice right now, so this is our next best thing. So with that being said, we're gonna take a look at this painting together. I'm gonna refrain from mentioning the artist, title, and date until the end of our conversation, just to not present any kind of bias for us today. But yeah, with that, let's look at this painting together. And as you're looking at it, go ahead and share something that you notice.
I'm immediately drawn to the cow right in the center. Looks like there's a rope tied around one of the back hooves. So kind of what's going on there with the action. Okay.
So upon first looking at this, you're immediately, your eye is drawn to the middle of the painting where there's this cattle, and you're noticing the rope wrapped around the back of his foot or her foot. It's yeah.
And like the literal tension.
Oh, of the string of the rope.
Yeah. Because you see that. I mean, it's really, really taut, and there's a cowboy and a horse, and he's using his body weight to pull that cow in the opposite direction. You can see the strain of his horse too, right over here.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And you can see like his hooves are really pushed down, trying to use that force to get the cow to go. To stop, obviously, what we haven't mentioned right here, where the real action is.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that horse that the cowboy is on, that's using the rope to pull, it looks like maybe at the bottom of the back hooves, like maybe that's like dust that's being kicked up as the horse is trying to move in the opposite direction. Yeah.
Yeah, you see that dust kicked up almost everywhere here in the action, and even in the background, there's little clouds of dust. So it does look dusty.
Yeah, dusty. What else do you notice?
I was noticing the really strong diagonal line that's the rope that's attached to the cow's leg, and then that same diagonal that's on the skeleton of the bull.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like that. So Emily's picking up on the composition, the diagonal, both in the main action with the cowboy to the cow to the fallen cowboy, and then also paralleled here in the foreground with this skeleton of the cattle. Like, yeah. What else do you notice?
Also noticing the bones in the viewer's right low corner. If that's bison or a cow, kind of an ominous sort of scene there.
Yeah. So again, going back to the skeleton, we see like bits and pieces of a body part of some kind of animal, and wondering, what a sense of forebodingness, a little bit. What else do you notice? I'm noticing the color palette of this painting is very muddied. Like there's a lot of browns and tans. I'm not seeing a lot of pops of color. I guess there is. I am noticing the yellow jacket, and I don't know if that's the rain jacket that we often see on the, on the cowboys. And then maybe the blue, like the turquoise of his, I don't know if those would be jeans or not. I don't know if they'd be wearing jeans by this point, but of his pants. And I guess he has a red bandana. He kind of has a complimentary, as I'm like walking through what he's wearing, he has a very complimentary wardrobe palette there on that one
very
cowboy.
primary.
Oh, primary, yes, sorry. Yeah.
It's funny that because usually the pop of color, you see red right away, but because this is such a red toned, like it's like coffee stained almost. So the red doesn't really stand out as much as you see in other paintings, because everything is sort of that tint.
Yeah, right. What else do you notice?
This is such a small detail, but my eye for some reason went to on this kind of the flank of the cow. It looks like it has a brand on it.
Yes. What letters do you think you're seeing?
This is like a vision test. I think
I know, right? This is when seeing the painting in person helps a lot better.
I think it's OH, which is kind of funny. Like,
yeah, I'm seeing an O and H too.
That's what I read.
That's what I read at first, and then I kind of like almost saw a B or a R, but I first saw an H.
Yeah, I guess it could be an R.
So I think it's funny that what we're all noticing these really tiny details, because obviously this guy is in a lot of trouble. That's fallen off of his horse, and he's all tangled up in his rope. His horse is being about to be gored probably by these horns. But at the same time, like this guy's face up here with the rope, he looks like it's just another day, just another thing. And even the guy over here trying to, like, maybe he's gonna do this lasso over here and try to help him out, or maybe he's trying to get out of the way. I don't know, but they don't look too alarmed. It kind of looks like this is life or death, but they're just sort of doing what they got to do.
Yeah, and the face of the horses actually look a little more alarmed than the humans.
Oh yeah,
riding them.
Yeah, especially the one that's about to get gored. He looks very alarmed.
He does. His poor eyes.
I know. I know. You know, one thing that I noticed in this painting, and especially when when we're able to see the original, but the blue sky is so pretty to me, and it's such a to me it's such a contrast to the muddier tones in the rest of the painting.
Yeah,
And there's just a lot of it. I mean, it's a big sky.
Yeah.
It is fresh, a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that you picked up on that, Janie. I like that.
Well, let me tell you, the cautious person in me too is I'm like, why are they so close to the edge? Why would they do this when they're so close to what looks like a ravine or gully?
Mm-hmm.
But I think I overthink things a lot.
Well, I wonder if maybe they didn't have a choice.
Maybe they didn't. Yeah, they probably didn't say, hey, let's go over there and do this. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this cow, they're obviously isolated and in a very precarious position off this, what looks like a cliff, sort of, but you can, like, the background, you see more detail than some other paintings I've seen, where you can make out these actual cows in the herd that look very peaceful and calm and are just standing there. And even the cowboys that you can see around the perimeter of the herd, they kind of are sticking to their job and letting these guys handle whatever's happening over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the way I read it, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see that one cow in the far background, like it looks like he's looking over here. Yeah, that guy. What's going on over there? But very calm and not alarmed, not joining in the activity.
I think it's really funny too, because like that calm cow, or like Janie was noticing the really serene sky in comparison to this really dramatic scene that's taking place right in front of us. It's kind of the opposite of a calm day.
Yeah. Yeah. We get some contrast with, the action in the foreground set against this very calm, serene background. Even as I look into the distance and you see, I don't know if those would be called hills or they're mountains, but it almost looks like there's like a mist or like a fog over the mountains a little bit. And so it is quite a contrast moving my eye from this action taking place that looks like there's going to be very dire consequences. And then as my eye continues back behind them, kind of escaping into the landscape a little bit, it's quite different. Yeah. What else do you notice?
Well, that brings me back to, maybe the meaning of the skeleton, because you can get lost in how beautiful that landscape is. But just as a reminder, nature is harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be deadly.
Yeah.
What else do you notice?
I wonder if this guy survives, if his leg is going to be okay.
Ooh. Yeah.
I can feel the weight.
And how they're going to transport him.
Yeah. What do you do out there?
Yeah. Well, we've just reached our 10 minutes here. And we really haven't even touched on some of these other characters yet, but this is just a little teaser, a little preview as to give you a taste of what talking about a work of art together can be like, and kind of an opportunity to see what the collective shared experience is like. And I always feel like what makes Tea and Talk so special is each one of you and what you bring to the conversation. It's so different than looking at a work of art by yourself, because each person brings so much of their own experience and their background, and everyone sees so differently, that I get to experience the painting in a whole new way. So I really appreciate that. And perhaps for those who are watching, this could be a model for how to look at works of art together virtually with your friends and family while you're physically apart. But while this is the end of our conversation with this painting, I'd love to continue the conversation with our viewers, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and observations about this painting. So please leave your comments below of something that you noticed in this work of art. We'd love to hear from you. But for now, thank you everyone for joining us today for Tea and Talk. This is a great conversation. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.